Some drivers win with raw aggression, others with sheer force of personality. But Jim Richards, he won with precision, intelligence, and an approach that earned him the nickname Gentleman Jim. A quiet achiever who let his results do the talking. But make no mistake, Richards was one of the most versatile and dominant drivers in Australian motorsport history. From touring cars to super tourers, from Bathurst to Targa Tasmania, he won everything. And he did it all while staying humble, calculated, and fiercely competitive well into his late 50s. Today we explore the story of the quiet champion, Jim Richards. Born in New Zealand in 1947, like so many Kiwi racers, he grew up with an innate love for motorsport. And by the late 1960s, he was already making a name for himself in New Zealand saloon car racing, dominating the domestic scene with precision and consistency. But New Zealand wasn't where the big opportunities were. If you wanted to make it in touring cars, you had to head across the Tasman to Australia. In 1974 he took the leap, arriving in Australia to chase bigger competition. He quickly adapted to the cutthroat world of Australian touring cars, showcasing his smooth driving style and mechanical sympathy, two traits that would become his trademarks throughout his career. His talent didn't go unnoticed. By 1978 he joined the iconic Holden dealer team. It was here that Richards forged his Bathurst winning partnership with Peter Brock, forming a duo that would dominate touring cars in Australia, especially at Bathurst in the late 70s and early 80s. In 78 he and Brock won the Bathurst 1000, first time out together, kicking off a run of dominance. They won again in 1979, this time by 6 laps, and then again in 1980. It was in 1980, when things weren't going their way, that the duo still somehow managed to notch up another victory at the mountain. It seemed like the pair were unstoppable. But Richards wasn't just a backup to Brock. He was just as fast, just as consistent. But unlike Brock, Richards didn't chase the limelight. He let the results speak for themselves. In 1982, Richards made a bold move. He left HDT to become BMW Australia's lead driver, taking on the challenge of competing against the more dominant V8s with a high-revving BMW 635 CSI. Many doubted the move. The Touring Car Championship was dominated by big, powerful V8 Falcons and V8 Commodores, and the BMW simply could not match them for sheer grunt. But what Richards and BMW lacked in horsepower, they made up for in handling, strategy, and consistency. In 1985, Richards drove flawlessly to win the Australian Touring Car Championship under the new Group A category rules, proving that finesse could beat brute force. He followed that up with further success, this time in the iconic BMW M3, winning the Australian Touring Car Championship again in 1987. This era cemented Richards as one of the best in the business. He wasn't just a Bathurst specialist anymore. He was now a championship caliber driver, capable of taking the fight to the V8s and winning. In 1989, Richards made another shrewd move, this time to Fred Gibson's Nissan motorsport operation, joining forces with a young Mark Skaife. This period saw the rise of the turbocharged Nissan Skyline, and then the incarnation into the R32 GDR, a car that would revolutionise Australian touring cars. Richards and Skaife were unstoppable in the Nissans. In 1981 and 1992, they won back-to-back Bathurst 1000s, with Richards also securing his third and fourth touring car titles in 1990 and 1991 respectively. The Skyline GDR was untouchable, earning the nickname Godzilla, but controversy was brewing. By 1992, resentment towards the car's dominance had reached a boiling point. And that led to one of the most infamous moments in Bathurst history. As Richards and Skaife were declared the winners of the 1992 Bathurst 1000, the crowd booed, angry that the red flag awarded the race to Richards and Skaife, who had in fact crashed the GDR on the previous lap. But also likely as well, angry that the unstoppable GDR had been awarded another major victory, and this time under highly controversial circumstances. Enraged by the backlash on the podium, Richards delivered his legendary post-race speech, "You're a pack of arseholes." It was the only time in his career that Gentleman Jim let his frustration show publicly, but it only added to his legacy. With the banning of the turbo cars in 1993 and a return to fan favourites, V8 Falcons versus V8 Commodores, Richards and Gibson Motorsport switched to Holden, and despite being in his mid-40s, Richards was still one of the fastest and most consistent drivers on the grid. After retiring from full-time touring car driving at the end of 1995 touring car season, Richards continued to be a sought-after co-driver at Bathurst, a safe pair of hands. Partnered again with Scaife, this time in our Holden racing team Commodore, Richards won his 7th and final Bathurst 1000 in 2002 at the ripe old age of 55. Even as younger drivers emerged, Richards was still at the sharp end of the field, still regularly finishing in the top 10 well into his late 50s. But Jim Richards wasn't just a touring car legend, he was one of the most versatile drivers Australia had ever seen. Beyond his Australian touring car titles and 7 Bathurst wins, Richards dominated Targa Tasmania, winning the famous Tarmac Rally a record 8 times. He was a master of adaptation, whether it was a V8 supercar, a turbocharged Skyline, a lightweight BMW, an XC Falcon sports sedan, or a rally-prepared Porsche. Mark Scaife, one of Richards' long-serving teammates, once said, "Jim had an ability to just place the car where it needed to be. He was smooth, never flustered, never made mistakes. He was the best teammate you could ask for." That sums up Jim Richards perfectly. A driver who didn't need to be the loudest, the flashiest, or the most controversial, because his results did all the talking. Jim Richards won everything. Multiple touring car titles, multiple Bathurst 1000s, Super Tourer wins, and even the Targa Tasmania. And he did it all with an approach few others could match. Cool, calculated, and precise. So how do you rate Jim Richards in the echelon of Australian motorsport? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Racing Chronicles. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.